The Giants are 1-6. The nightmare season continues. It was a game that I'm sure most of us expected to lose, and of course the Giants somehow made it close and still lose in the end. Lots of boneheaded decisions from the coach, the quarterback, some bad plays by the defense. They let a guy get behind them who is only known for catching deep balls, and they still let that happen. A lot of just stupid things today. A lot of stupid things. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to start with the positives as always. So Saquon, Odell, and Sterling Shepard all looked amazing today. Shepard didn't have a as big a game as the other two, but he did have a few big catches in this game. He did have that ball that he ripped away from the defender and was able to run down the sideline for a nice gain. The one on the last drive of the game where they were kind of playing prevent defense, but he was still able to catch a long ball, which was nice. So the pass rush in the first quarter was good. I don't know where it went after that, but there was, in the first quarter, they looked like a competent defensive line. Kerry Wynn, I think, got a sack. Mario Edwards, I think, got a sack as well. Maybe someone else, I forget. I think Lorenzo Carter actually had one too. So, that was nice to see for one quarter. Janoris Jenkins had a nice play on Julio Jones where he made him fumble. The Giants challenged that and won the challenge. He took 2 steps and made a football move, as they said, so that was a nice play. Aldrick Rosas has been fine. No issues there at all. His kicks have been literally perfectly down the middle all season. It seems like he's really been locked in. Riley Dixon in the beginning of the game, I think the first quarter maybe, had a punt to the 1 or 2 yard line, so that was terrific to see. Their run defense was pretty good. I mean, I don't think Tevin Coleman or Ito Smith had that big of games. I remember Coleman had a big catch at one point, but from keeping them holding them in check on the ground was definitely a good part of the Giants' defense. So I liked what I saw there. And, of course, it's like the, roulette of punt returners for the Giants. They had a guy, I think his name was Quadri Henderson or something like that, some specialist returner from Pitt who looked pretty good today. He did have a punt return that went pretty far. It was 20-something yards. That was cool to see. He really didn't have many issues. I mean, the first punt he caught, he kind of went to his knees and kind of gave us a little bit of a scare, but overall it wasn't really that bad compared to the past. And I'm sure there'll be a new punt returner next week because that just seems to be the theme this season. So that's really all I have for positives. I mean, I really don't know what else I can say about that. Anytime you lose a game, I mean, it's going to be definitely more negatives than positives, but it was just disappointing. I mean, for them to stay around and keep this game close, I mean, I'd rather just see them get blown out, honestly. Of course, the Giants give you that hope that they can come back and maybe put a drive together and win the game, but then this whole back-to-back QB sneak nonsense happens, and these overthrows and holding onto the ball too long in the pocket and not giving your receivers a chance. So I'll get into all this. So first negative I have is coaching decisions, most notably the 2-point conversion where I believe they were down. I forget the score now. Basically, I think they were down 14. It made sense to just score a touchdown, kick the extra point. You're down 7, right? I think what Pat Shurmur did was they were down 8 at that point after the touchdown. He decides to go for 2 to make it a 6-point game rather than just kick the extra point, make it a 7-point game. I really didn't understand where they were coming from on that. And I mean, that was a play that could have worked. The throw was a little bit too much to Odell's inside shoulder, and I think if it was outside more, he would have caught it easily, but that was unfortunate. But I don't think it was the right decision. I mean, everyone on Twitter even said they were puzzled by this whole decision. I mean, it's one of those things that if it works, then no one says anything about it, but it didn't work, and it didn't really make sense from the beginning. But also the QB sneaks, I really don't know who that was on. I don't know if that was on Shurmur, don't know if that was on Eli. It might have been said in the press conference. I really don't know. I didn't watch. I'm doing this right after the game, basically. They had back-to-back QB sneaks with 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter. They needed to score. They needed to recover an onside kick. And by the time they scored, which was basically on just a close your eyes and lob it up to Odell and hope for the best kind of throw, there was 5 seconds left, I believe, in the game. So that was just ridiculous the way they handled the clock and everything. I also have Eli missed a touchdown to Odell twice. I mean, I remember the first one was a one to the corner where they might have been on a different page and didn't really. I think one of them thought it was zone coverage, the other thought it was man, and Eli threw it far to the right of Odell. And then there was another one where it was a 3rd down and 10. I really didn't see many people talk about this one. I don't think Odell was like quote unquote open on this play, but it's a throw that should have been made. I think Eli threw it into double coverage rather than Odell, who had one-on-one with a linebacker. I'll try to put the video in here as I'm saying it right now. I'll try to find that. So we'll see if I can get that after. But the pass rush was invisible for 3 quarters. I did praise them for how they started the game. I said they got the 3 sacks early. But after that, I mean, it really seemed like there was no pass rush whatsoever. I mean, Matt Ryan at one point was completing 17 passes in a row in this game. The Falcons' play action absolutely killed us. We had no answer for it whatsoever. And Matt Ryan was just making it easy. I mean, it looked like he was playing a college team and was just completing everything. He was given all day to throw in the second half, and you're not going to beat a team that way. I don't care how bad the quarterback on the opposing side is. Matt Ryan's a pretty good quarterback, so if you give him all day to throw, that's what's going to happen. He's going to pick you apart, and that's exactly what happened. So another negative, I just said the offensive line sucked, specifically Nate Solder, who had another bad game. It's really puzzling what's going on with him right now. I mean, we signed this guy. At the time, was the highest paid left tackle in football. I think Taylor Lewan passed him, but he's probably the 2nd highest paid left tackle in football now. But he had at least like 3 occasions where he just did not know. He looked like Eric Flowers. I mean, I literally tweeted like Nate Flowers. I mean, that's really what he looked like. It's, ridiculous how at times Nate Solder looks like he's a really good player, and then there's times where he just does not know what the hell he's doing, it looks like. So consistency needs to be developed amongst these players. I mean, Solder's like 29 years old. He's been in the league for like 7 years now. So, I mean, it kind of is what it is at this point. Same with Eli Manning. I mean, he's only declining at this point. You got to make your throws consistently. But, as a left tackle, you basically, aside from quarterback, I think are the most important position on the field, especially on a passing play. And to have your guy beat you consistently. And, Eli is, his feet rattle and all that stuff as much as it is. He doesn't need to be more paranoid with bad play from Nate Solder. I figured with Nate Solder there, it would kind of relax Eli a little bit more and make him have a better year, but not really the case in this game at least. So, another bad thing, the Giants covered the spread. Not a fan of that. Lost a decent amount of money because of it. And another quick thing, that Justin Herbert might return to school next year. There was some report that came out on Saturday. I'm not really sure if I believe that stuff yet, but it's not a good thing to see. I mean, we did think that Sam Darnold at this point last year was going to go back to school, but he eventually did come out. So who knows? We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of season left, so it's really, I don't want to get into the whole draft thing now, but just unbelievable how things have turned this year. So, as I said last week, I expected the Giants to lose this game. I thought it'd be a blowout, and I still think what's going to happen is, I don't want to say it, but look, you're 1-6 now. You play Washington at home next week. Probably go 1-7, I would think. If you're 1-7 into your bye, the Giants are not in a position to win 8 straight games out of their bye, I feel like, and I just, I don't see a reason to keep playing Eli Manning. I really don't. I understand it's probably his last year here, and you want to give him the, the proper way to finish his career here, but, it just made, last year they screwed this whole thing up as well. They made a terrible decision to play Geno Smith instead of Davis Webb. The reason that logical fans were, up in arms about the whole Eli benching was because it was for a quarterback who was a journeyman in Geno Smith. If we benched Eli Manning for Davis Webb, I don't think people would really care that much. I wouldn't. It would kind of be sad because, this guy started 200 and something straight games for us. It kind of sucks. But, if they started Davis Webb, who is was a work in progress at the time, I really never thought Webb was going to be anything. But, you might as well just see what you have anyway. And it would suck if they make that same mistake this year. Look, I posted Lauletta's preseason game tape and all that. He didn't look that impressive. I'm not gonna lie. He did not look great. But there were a few throws and a few times where he ran the ball where you're like, all right, maybe he could be something. But you have to play this guy. You're not gonna know it by seeing him at practice. Yeah, all the Giants fans wanted to say Davis Webb looked great throwing in shorts on the practice field, but then in the games he just did not look that good. So if I'm running the Giants, I'm saying, next Sunday, Eli, this is your last start, and after that, we're going with Lauletta. I don't know if Lauletta's ready or not, but you got to think about it. He's been on the Giants roster since what, like April 29th, April 30th when he was drafted. Pretty sure that's enough time to get yourself ready to start a game. I'm pretty sure Kyle Lauletta didn't sign up to just sit the bench. I'm pretty sure if Pat Shurmur offered him to start next game, he probably would. You know, that's just the competitive nature of a player. So, look, I don't think Lauletta is going to turn around this season. I don't think he would even be the answer to the future of this team. But like, you might as well just see what you got at this point. You really, you know what I mean? Like, Eli didn't play that bad today either. You know, I don't want to say that. Last week was just horrible. You know, a lot of that was on Eli, but today was some bad offensive line play, especially in the first couple quarters. But you know, there's no upside with playing Eli anymore. There's none. He's not getting any better. He's not getting any younger. You know, he's 37 years old. He looks like he has nothing left at this point. You know, he's a guy who needs a perfect situation. The Giants are far from a perfect situation. They do have some pretty damn good skill players, but their offensive line needs a lot of work. The Giants don't have anyone reliable on their offensive line. They had another new center this year. That's like 4 new centers for Eli since the preseason started. You think about it, right? They had Brett Jones. I'm already forgetting. Brett Jones, Jalapio, Greco, and now this guy, I already forget his name, Sully or something like that. I forget, honestly. But you know, it's ridiculous. I mean, we need to turn the page on the Eli Manning thing. It's not working. All right, it's not working. I mean, even if they won tonight, I really wouldn't care. It's like, okay, you're 2-5, your division sucks. I get it, but like I think the Redskins are like 4-2, and you're probably gonna lose to them next week too. So, look, I think after next week when they most likely lose to Washington, who I don't think is a great team, but we sure as hell ain't a good team at all. So, I think what's going to happen is we lose to Washington. The logical thing to do would be to announce that maybe before the game starts, like, you know, this could potentially be Eli's last game, get the rumors going. And then into the bye week, you announce that Kyle Lauletta is going to be your starter for the last 8 or so games, whatever it is, and then you just roll and see what happens. If he sucks, then he sucks. Who cares? You know, you're not going anywhere. You might as well see what you got. Like next year, they might draft someone, and then you're never going to see what Lauletta is. I mean, I'd rather give him a shot now. And even like in the scenario that Lauletta plays well, and the Giants still draft a quarterback in next April's draft, teams are still going to be quarterback thirsty. They still want quarterbacks, right? So worst case scenario is Lauletta plays well, and a team that has a preseason quarterback injury or something like that can trade assets for Kyle Lauletta, right? Let's say hypothetically we draft Justin Herbert in April, right? And we have Herbert and Lauletta. Let's say Eli's retired or whatever, right? So we have those two on the roster, and then let's say trying to think of a team, just a random team here. Let's say for the Seahawks, Russell Wilson goes down in preseason, right? Well, who do they have? I have no idea. Maybe they want to trade for Kyle Lauletta, who had a good second half of the season in the previous season, right? I mean, it just makes sense to play the guy. I mean, Eli most likely is going to retire. If Eli is a logical man, he will retire after this year. I mean, he's really hurting his legacy at this point. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Eli's close to having an under 500 record as a Giants starting quarterback as well, which would not be a good look. So you might as well end it now while you can. And that's really all I got to say. I mean, I don't know what else needs to be said at this point. Pat Shurmur's been disappointing mostly. I do like it when a coach is aggressive. The whole 2-point conversion thing pissed me off, and the QB sneaks were stupid. I mean, why did you draft Saquon second overall if you're not going to use him on the 1-yard line? You know, they used him in a 2-point conversion. Boom, he got in easily, right? It looked like no one even wanted to touch the guy. But when it's Eli Manning, defenders, you know, they like lick their lips and go, oh, Eli Manning, he ain't going to do shit on us, all right? They just want to go after him, right? But Saquon Barkley, I would rather tackle Eli Manning than Saquon Barkley. It's simple as that, right? I mean, if you're a defender, that's what you'd rather do. Like, I understand QB sneaks work on like 4th and inches, but they were a good yard away from scoring there. You might as well give it to Saquon Barkley. Or even, I think on the broadcast, they said throw some fades because you had no timeouts left and the clock was running. Throw a couple fades to Odell and see what happens. Run a slant and see what happens, right? Makes no sense to run 2 quarterback sneaks with a guy who has 0 mobility. It's not like Eli is this strong Cam Newton-like quarterback that can just like knock the line over. It was really going to be from the Giants offensive line and see how much push they get. And I don't trust the Giants offensive line to get any push at all. So it is what it is. I mean, that's pretty much my rant for this week. I guess I will talk to you guys next week after Washington's game. I don't know if it's going to be Eli's last start, but if it is, I mean, I thank him for everything he's done for this team, of course. And, if they do announce it, I'll, reminisce on the good times Eli has brought to me as a Giant fan. And, I hate to badmouth the guy because I love him, but, like, it is what it is at this point. I understand. I'm a very realistic person, right? I understand that he's not getting any younger. And I understand that we're in a terrible situation as a franchise, as an organization, whatever you want to say. This season sucks. It's already down the drain, 7 weeks into it, and it is what it is. So if we lose next week, I would expect Lauletta to be starting after the bye. Knowing the Giants, they probably won't, but that would be the logical thing to do. I'm saying if I was in charge, that's what I would do. But I'm just a talking head on YouTube, so what the hell do I know? But, yeah, that'll be it. And I'll talk to you guys after the Washington game. I'll probably be doing the coach's film thing as well for this week because there are a lot of situations I could see just from watching on TV. A lot of throws that Eli missed. And, the line played shitty as well, so I'll try to point out everything. And that's pretty much it. So I guess I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks for watching.